On.
Hi, I'm Marlene Green, and I've lived in PVE for 35 years, raised my family here. My husband lived in the area previously, and I'm really excited to be working in the art jury in the Homes Association. I was appointed in February of this last year, and I think we've been making some good strides and some improvements. There's a long way to go, but it's pretty exciting. My education, my degree's in environmental design, which means that I'm familiar with a lot of the responsibilities that we have in the Homes Association. I've done special studies on Olmsted, and I've worked at a lot of different scales. So I've done work in urban planning, I've done architecture. Currently I do a lot of landscape design in the area, so we've been very concerned with trees and views and maintaining our green spaces. And I'm really into the history of our city, and I feel that the Homes Association is more than the art jury. I think we're also a repository for the history of our city, and I think that we have a responsibility to help guide the future and to determine what our city is going to look like in the next 10, 20, 50 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Gain.
Hi, I'm Gain Brennaman, and I want to thank everybody for coming out on this cold night. And I would particularly thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this and organizing it. I'm very appreciative of that. I'm seeking your vote to vote for me because I feel like I can bring my experience and tenacity and energy to solving some of the problems that we face at the PVHA board. I came here 20 years ago. I've raised my family. My kids went to the schools here. We loved it. And I now find myself a semi-retired physician and really want to contribute and give back to the community. I think that we have at least 3 major problems facing the current PVHA association. I've been a president of an HOA out of state for almost 27 years. I'm very familiar with balancing a budget and facing a lot of those problems, so I feel that that can really bring a lot of value to the table here. I think if you would all remember 10 or 20 years ago driving through this community, you had wide open ocean vistas and mountains and canyons and could see everything, and now it feels very closed in. I really feel that we've blocked a lot of views driving around the homes and looking for those views. And one of the things that has brought me to this table here is view restoration. I think we should go back to the 1923 CC&Rs and enforce those views on page 1, number 1. So I'd like to ask for your support to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dick.
Hello? Well, thank you for coming, and thanks to the League of Women Voters.
Should be on.
When I first moved into PVE, which was in the early 70s, the realtor told me that the parkland was important, the PVHA was important, and the PVHA would protect the parkland. I believed her. I was dismayed when I learned that the PVHA had been party to a transfer of parkland to a private citizen as part of a deal that received very little publicity. I then got involved and attended planning commission meetings, PVE city council meetings, and PVHA board meetings. I also joined the committee to enforce parkland covenants and supported the efforts to undo the transfer. During this time, I found the performance of the PVA board to be embarrassing and felt I could do better. I ran for the board in elections that never achieved a quorum. I was appointed to the board early this year, and I think we have made progress on some fronts, including communications, but we have a long way to go. We have used the website to put up newsworthy items and proposed resolutions. We've started an email blast system. It only has a few users, but you can easily sign up at pvha.org if you want to be kept abreast. In my opinion, this year we made a major mistake when we adopted Resolution 185, which governs tree view disputes and limits the disputes to adjoining properties. I was very much opposed, and while Marlene and I voted no, it still passed 3-2. Since then, much of our meeting time has been spent hearing from members as to what is wrong with 185. Marlene has been working hard on a better view resolution, but it is not an easy task. I would like to continue on the board. I want to continue to improve our communication efforts. And if anyone knows a web designer,
Oh, okay. Thank you. John.
Thank you, Dick. I'm John Harvison, and thank you all who came tonight, and thanks to the League of Women's Voters for hosting the forum. We desperately need a more engaged electorate, so you should be proud that you're here. Since failure to reach a quorum in the past 10 years has led to no valid election in the last decade, and in fact, haven't met the 50% quorum requirement only 3 times in 25 years. I'd be honored to serve on the PVHA board. In the recent Panorama Parklands litigation, I fought for the protection of our CCNRs, which is integral to the stewardship responsibilities of the PVHA board. Now that the lawsuit is successfully settled and our parklands are secure, I look forward to the potential opportunity to work together and channel my deep understanding of the deed restrictions and bylaws into protecting and implementing the vision established by the founders of our community in the 1920s. Why do I think we need new leadership? In 2012, the board voted unanimously to sell 1.7 acres of parkland to a private resident who had built extensive encroachments over the previous 36 years. This was the first time the PVHA strayed from its mandate to be the defender of the underlying deed restrictions prohibiting such sales. In 2013, I became aware of the sale and urged the PVHA to reverse the transaction. And then when that was ignored, I filed a lawsuit. This was the first time in my life that I initiated or was part of any litigation. We did win in the Superior Court and then unanimously on appeal. We were told by the PVHA president that pursuing an appeal would cost PVHA nothing because of insurance. But as a result of these bad decisions, the board took $1 million of reserves and burned that down to $56,000 that we have today. We need better stewardship than that. Having invested some 2,000 hours in these matters, I feel I have excellent grasp of issues and challenges and prepared to roll up my sleeves and work towards solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Reed.
Hi, I know this is a busy holiday season. Those people that are here tonight or watching really appreciate you being here, and also thanks to the League of Women's Voter. This is my actually the 4th candidate forum I've participated in. Rather than review my past work experience, as I've done before, and that can also be viewed on the PVHA website, I'd like to share with you what I've actually experienced and accomplished in the last few years. In attempting to serve on the PVHA, I've attended their board meetings, analyzed their financials, became familiar with their bylaws and covenants, reviewed the meetings minutes for actually a few decades, become familiar with their working operations and their deficiencies. I was active in opposing the past board's attempt to sell parkland and to prevent democratic elections, and along with John, participated in the settlement to resolve these past mistakes by the board. My understanding of the PVHA greatly increased with my application to the yard jury to rebuild a home, modify a porch, and install solar panels. I also experienced a view mediation. So I understand how much stress and even the miseries that these processes can cause owners. From this experience, it was evident to me that there are inefficiencies and sometimes substantial delays between the city and PVHA in granting permits of months and even years. I had a neighbor that took 7 years to build his house. That's unacceptable. It's my belief this negativity affects our property values and needs to be changed. If elected, this is a major issue I'll attempt to improve. Of great concern, it appears the PVHA is in a rather precarious situation. Its assets, as you heard, have dropped to only about $50,000 and has dropped several $100,000 in just the last 3 years. Its website is dated, and incidentally, I do have some web experience, so I could maybe help you out with that a little bit. Anyway, if elected to the board, I pledge to address these issues, and I hope you vote in the coming election. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles?
Good evening. My name is Charles Tang, and first of all, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for organizing this forum, and also I'd like to thank my neighbors for showing up tonight. And thirdly, I'd like to thank the current PVHA Board of Directors for allowing me to join their team for the last couple of months. So it's been a pleasure, and it's given me the opportunity to understand the myriad of problems facing our community. My family and I have lived in Palos Verdes Estates for the last 25 years. I've raised 3 of my kids in this neighborhood. And I want to preserve this neighborhood. That's the reason I'm on the board. So I love Palos Verdes Estates. I want to keep it the way it is. And the protective restrictions and standards are essential in doing that. So I want to enforce it. So in terms of my background, I spent 35 years in both management and staff positions at the Aerospace Corporation. After I retired, became a serial entrepreneur. I created 3 companies: a technology venture capital firm, a real estate investment company, and also a nonprofit educational company to help the disadvantaged. In addition, to this day, I continue to teach at LMU and USC. I have degrees in an MBA from Loyola Marymount University, as well as a doctorate from USC. PVE and Mirrorless will face many challenges in the future, such as views, trees, building constraints, state-mandated ADUs, and planned proliferation of 5G cell towers. I want to use the CCNRs to protect our city. So in working with the city and federal government, in my prior experience, I've
Charles?
been able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.